Welcome to the Fantasy Football Healers podcast. It's Free Agent Frenzy. We are also now infused by the Fantasyholics. That's fantasyholics.com, at fantasyholics1 on Twitter X. You can find me at FF Healers, and you can find Colten at FF Captain 22 on Twitter X. Don't forget to find us on YouTube. We're also doing it live right here, right now. You can find me and Colten, YouTube, FF Healers. Welcome in, Colten Palmer.
How's it going? We are live, folks. Still getting used to doing it live, as the folks would say. So hopefully I don't say anything too crazy because there's no editing that out. And I'm feeling a little frisky after that free agency week, man. Feeling pretty good. So we'll dig into it and we'll talk about it.
It seemed like there was a lot more free agent moves this year than I can even remember.
There's a lot of moves, lots of trades that kind of happened too. A lot of trades. Actually, just one that didn't happen. So
you might as well go into that one first because I think that's big news, Colten.
We'll talk about it. Yeah, here first because it's wild what happened. So Max Crosby of the Raiders traded to the Baltimore Ravens, which huge trade, huge guy to go out and get. That happened, a week back or so?
And the trade included a 2026 first and a 2027 first-round pick from the Ravens in order to accommodate him.
Yeah. So they were paying big money in trade-wise, and then also paying him big money to have him on their team. And Tuesday night, I believe it was, right before the start of the week or the new NFL schedule, that Baltimore Ravens just decided, you know what? We don't want to go through with this trade. End up backing out of the trade due to his medicals. And I don't know, man. Where are you at with it? Because I have my own thing to say that I'll say here soon. But where are you at with it?
Well, when I saw that the trade didn't go through, my first instinct was, well, each team has their own independent medical provider to basically check to see what the medicals are. And if they don't pass the tests, then they don't have to go through with the trade. I seen that plenty when I was with a professional soccer team when I was out in Arizona. These teams, they have the athletic trainers, the medical staff. They're checking these athletes and they're making sure that they're the appropriate, like they're buyer beware. We hear that oftentimes. They want to make sure that they're getting the right package in the deal. And for the Ravens, they said, well, he didn't pass the medicals. And if you rewind it back to the end of the season, the Raiders did say that Crosby did have an injury and they were going to shut him down for the last two games. We do not know what medical test wasn't passed in order to cause a trade to be declined or not to go through. But I think this is where our speculation is too. Not only did they decline it, but they already had somebody in their back pocket that was right there where they could save those 2 first-round picks and pay that person instead. And it worked out in the Ravens' favor.
Yeah. They said he didn't pass the medicals, which is I find crazy because he just had surgery back in early January. And basically they knew that. I mean, that was not hidden from anyone that he had surgery. And they were just like, nah. I mean, I understand why he wouldn't pass their medicals. You're paying big money. You're paying 2 first-round picks for this year and next year, the highly coveted picks for next year. And so I understand the backing out, but you knew before going into this trade that he had had a surgery previously. And in my own opinion, I think I know you and I talked about this through text, but you don't believe they'll be punished. I think you're right with that, but I think they'll be punished by other teams in the league. I mean, how do you go into this with a trustworthy sense to another team after you just watch what they did to the Raiders? And the Raiders had already spent all that money that they thought they were going to have freed up from this trade to now they have to take back Crosby. And now all these other teams are going to know how desperate the Raiders are to get Crosby off of their team because they're like, we've already spent all this money. What are we going to do? So now all these other teams are like, well, we can take advantage of this. I mean, I just think it was super shady of the Raiders. And I think just not a cool move, man. You stepped into that. You wanted him, follow through with it. I understand they got Trey Hendrickson without having to pay the 2 first-round picks and just had to pay money. But you knew that was an option prior to going for this. You just kind of got cold feet, backed out, and I think it just looks poor on the organization.
Yeah, and like you said, organizations, it's just like if you're playing a video game and you're trying to do different trades or fantasy football. Can we talk there? Fantasy football. You've got somebody that says, yeah, I want to do that trade. And you're texting back and forth and the trade is pretty much set in stone. And then you're waiting for the trade to go through. It doesn't go through. And they either decline the trade after you guys had already admitted saying, yes, we had the gentleman's shake, we're going with the trade, or they send it back. This is what gets me even the worst. It's like, you agree on the trade, they send it back and say, I want a little bit more on top. It's like, we agreed on the trade. Like, that just is like, you're spitting in my face. It's egg on my face. And it's like, do I really want to send a fantasy trade to that individual? Not really. Why? Yeah. Why would I do that?
No, it just leaves a sour taste. And the whole league saw it happen. So I think it's going to leave the sour taste in a lot of GM's mouth. And I think the Ravens could end up paying for it just in terms of other teams are going to be weary.
Yeah, and as we did say, like, I don't think the NFL itself is going to put a kibosh on it.
No, I think because they had a legitimate reason, their medical person was like, I don't really like it or whatever. Maybe they even went to that medical person and say there was a problem. But yeah, exactly. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. So, I mean, I don't think they'll be punished by the NFL, but maybe by other GMs and teams.
Well, let's talk about some things that are going to affect us a little bit more in fantasy football. And let's talk about the quarterback position. That's supposed to be the most important position in the NFL. Let's start with none other than the Super Bowl winning Kenny Pickett to the Panthers for a 1-year, $7.5 million deal.
Insignificant to me. I don't know why we started out with that, but hey, we did. Small man at their starting quarterback and a man with small hands at their secondary. So exciting times there in Carolina.
All right. Well, let's start with a better one here, Colten. How about Malik Willis? I mean, there was all kinds of talk right before the season even ended about Malik Willis potentially going to the Dolphins. He does sign with the Dolphins after Tua was released. $99 million cap hit, mind you. Malik Willis signs a 3-year, $67.5 million deal. This is a guy that got drafted in the 3rd round out of Liberty. He's making $67.5 million with the Dolphins. Congratulations to him. He was offered a larger contract with the New York Jets, and he declined it because he says that's basically a graveyard. The Jets are a graveyard for quarterbacks, so why would I want to go there? He's taking a shot on himself, and not only that, but he's making a lot of money doing it.
Yeah, Malik Willis, I saw that quote actually last night, and I just kind of chuckled, and good for him. For standing his ground, taking a bet on himself. There was rumors to him to Arizona. There was rumors to Miami, especially since his former offensive coordinator had taken the head coaching job over there. So I think that was the most likely in my book anyways. I kind of saw that coming. He knows the offense. The offensive coordinator knows him. This is one that's tough for me in fantasy because Malik Willis does have the rushing upside. He is a mobile quarterback. He can move. He showed that he had a relatively good arm last year. I mean, he was 85.7 completion percentage. I mean, that's only on 35 attempts, though. We have a very limited window on what this guy can do and is doing. And, Miami paid quite a bit of money to have him there. And it seems like, I know we talked about it, he's just one of those guys he wanted to stash, but you and I talked about it. I'm like, I didn't think he was going to get just a starter role. I thought he'd go for a competition role, but looks like they're just walking in and saying, hey, this is our guy. It's our starter. And just crazy to me, especially with how inflated his fantasy value is right now. if you had him back when we talked about it, good for you. I think you're going to get some good fantasy value out of him this year with the mobile rushing upside. But right now, I don't know where you're at, but I'm not buying right now at this inflated price.
No, you were supposed to buy before he got signed, before free agency. And I saw somebody trade for him in Superflex, and it made my stomach just fall through the floor, because there was somebody in one of my fantasy leagues that ended up getting him for a fourth round pick for Malik Willis. And I'm like, are you kidding me? He has a chance to start, and he showed how well he was as a player. Now, we've seen it many times over where a backup quarterback looks good as a backup quarterback, and then when they're thrusted into a starting role, they're not as successful. But Malik Willis has some outs. He's got the legs. He's got the rush ability. And there's really nobody there to compete with him, Colten, with the Dolphins. And again, Tua was not only released, a $99 million cap hit, and he is projected to actually go to the Falcons, which I think is where we need to talk about next, with Penix having the injury, Kirk Cousins then also being released. And
you like that? You like that?
Some team is going to like that. Some team is going to end up getting Kirk Cousins. I've actually heard rumor that Kirk Cousins is connected with the Steelers as a possibility, which I think is interesting. We can't forget about Patrick Mahomes also isn't completely healed, and we don't know when he's going to actually start. So a place like the Kansas City Chiefs possibly could be a place, because Kirk Cousins is getting paid. Tua is also getting paid. Like, it's going to be league minimum contract for both of these players. And I don't know. What do you think about Tua, Kirk N Chains? And then if you want to go back to Malik Willis, go for it.
No, I don't really have much more to say about Malik Willis. I think that's just kind of where I'm at. Is the price is too high if you got him earlier? Congrats. I think he'll be a strong second quarterback for your team. But Tua did sign. Yeah, he signed with the Atlanta Falcons. You know, they just had to. Yeah, yep. You're muted. You're muted.
Is that official?
Yes, it was. Yes, he did. Tua agreed to the 1-year minimum contract with the Falcons. So it is official. They had to bring in the second lefty of the league just to make sure that the ball spins the right direction for their wide receivers, so they understand. That's essentially what it is. I don't hate the spot for Tua, honestly. I think that's one of the better options for him landing there. Is, you know, two injury-prone quarterbacks. He gets the chance to compete and show. Penix showed promise at one point in time, but then is injured. And then also last year didn't look as good as he did at the end of his rookie year. At the end of his rookie year, it looked very promising. And last year just had the sophomore slump. So we'll see if he can come back off this injury and kind of take that starting role back. But I have a feeling we're going to see a pretty good quarterback competition in Atlanta over the summer. It's going to be interesting to me to see who comes out on top. I know that Penix will be recovering from his ACL tear still, but
I think that's the number one thing right there, Colten. Like you're saying about a competition, I don't think Penix is going to be ready to start the season. All the more reason why they needed to sign a starting quarterback with Tua. You said left-handed. They might as well go out and also draft Cole Payton from North Dakota State, because he's left-handed also. They could get him in 5th or 6th round of the NFL draft, and then boom, boom, boom. Now they at least have somebody to fill in the gap when Tua has his concussion, Penix is out on ACL, and now you've got a starter in Cole Payton.
They'll have a monopoly on the left-handed quarterbacks there. But yeah,
that's all that's left.
We don't need him. Get him out. The ball turns the wrong way. But I mean, once Penix comes back, it'll be interesting to see who takes hold of the reins and who keeps their job, and if Penix will just become the backup, the highly drafted backup, which I could very well see happening.
What do you think is going to go on with Kirk N Chains? Do you have an idea where he's going to end up? Because now, I mean, the Vikings, everyone's like, oh, the Vikings. Like, we've done that experiment, been there, done that. We can talk about who the Vikings actually did get here in just a second, but that vacancy spot is closed Kirk Cousins, I mean, it's wide open.
I've actually heard him rumored to the Raiders quite a bit here, just as like a mentor.
bridge?
Yeah, well, like a mentor to be for Mendoza. You know, they came out and said they don't know if they really want him starting like right away, especially the first beginning of the season, get him underway, get him used to the speed. So there's been a lot of rumors around him going to the Raiders to be a mentor. I know Kirk didn't like that a few years ago, to be a mentor to someone young, and that's the whole reason he left the Vikings. He wanted to stay in Minnesota, but they're like, we're going to draft a young quarterback, and he didn't like that. So he did not like that.
Did not like that.
So he decided to take elsewhere, and it still happened to him. So we'll see if he's kind of changed his mind on that, and if he's ready to enter the more mentorship role. If not, man, I liked him being a commentator. He was a good fun that time. So we'll have to see. I have a feeling in the next couple weeks we'll kind of find out where Kirk Cousins go. You brought up the Steelers. I wouldn't hate that for my what we'll talk about here shortly. Michael Pittman shares, though.
Yeah, we can touch on that here too in just a second. But just to go back with Kirk Cousins, I'm like, if you really want to know where he's going to sign, you should just make a map and see which stadium is closest to a Coles, and then boom, that's where Kirk N Chains is going to end up. I don't know. Does California? Oh wait, Vegas. Does Vegas have Coles?
I doubt it. Maybe he's not going there. No Coles, no Cousins.
Nope. They got the Strip, but no Coles.
Out.
Nope. Sorry, that's not going to cut it.
They're going to have to get him a jet to fly in from somewhere that's close to a Coles.
But when Kirk Cousins does make it with the Steelers, he has another weapon there outside of DK Metcalf. He has a new weapon in Michael Pittman Jr., former Colts wide receiver. How do you feel like that fit is for the Steelers?
Don't get me started on this, Dustin.
I think it's a good fit for
Michael Pittman. Are we gonna do this early?
I mean, there's so much more I can talk about.
Yeah.
I don't know what's worse for the Colts.
No,
we're gonna start here because we got a lot to get to, Colton, and I want to make sure you don't get too upset.
No, you're gonna get me very angry right now.
3 years, $59 million.
I'm out. I'm done. I'm done with the Colts. I'm done with until Chris Ballard is out of there. I'm done. I am out. I'm done. I hate him. I do not like it. Go Skull, baby. I'm all in. This is it. This is where I live now, because that is the most ignorant thing I have ever seen in the history. I saw it. Oh, I love that. Oh, we never had that. I was torn between two teams, and alas, now I've done it. I can officially say I'm no longer torn, because this is absurd, man. What do they do? Late round swaps. I don't know the exact. I'll have to look it up, but the exact initials of the trade. I just kind of read it was late round swaps to get rid of Pittman to the Steelers. What are we doing?
In order to make room to pay somebody else.
Let's just bring it up now. Let me get pissed. Let me get mad.
Let's go for it, Colton.
What are we doing for a man that hasn't caught 50 balls on a season, and we're just going to pay him 4 years, $116 million for somebody that's not our one? For somebody that's not a one? What are
just gotta call your shot, man?
No, you're not calling your shot on this. Stop. What are we doing? Sometimes bad GMs just need to be let go. And after you make that move, it's just like, this is it. You're done. Like, this is like a person that's just trying to ruin the team before he's just like, hey, I'm out. This is like the bad fantasy manager that's just like, I'm mad at this league. I'm just going to trade good assets for nothing, and then I'm going to deuce out. What are we doing? What are we doing? Get rid of Pittman. You pay Pierce. You couldn't move off of Anthony Richardson to save your life. Paid Daniel Jones. He's what, 2 years? Yeah.
You're ready, Colton.
2 years.
I think that was a good one for they needed at least 2 years, because this year's recovery year. Next year is like healthy year.
2 years, $88 million guaranteed. Or is it $88 million with up to $100? I know it's up to $100 million in incentives, but $88 million I know is the contract. I don't know what's guaranteed. I can't remember off the top of my mind. I know that's the contract, though.
Funny thing is, if he would have been with the Vikings, he probably would have maybe he would have stayed healthy the whole year, and then he could have got a Sam Darnold 3 years over $100 million contract. But instead, he goes with the Colts. Played very well. Got injured, unfortunately, but he still got an $88 million contract. Like, I mean, you got to say that's pretty good for him. He played very well with the Colts.
It is. I was not as mad about this one as I am. The
Alec Pierce was terrible.
That is the worst GM I've ever seen in the history of mankind. My goodness. Don't. Oh my gosh. Anyway, sorry. I digress.
Isn't that the most that anyone's ever paid in a free agency period was for Alec Pierce? It's the highest contract ever.
He's the highest paid free agency wide receiver. He is getting paid more than Amon-Ra St. Brown. What are we doing? He caught the most balls he's ever caught last year, and that was 47. 47 balls.
Not great.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
For a Z wide receiver.
For someone that is a deep don't get me wrong, I don't hate Alec Pierce. I am not.
It's the cost. The cost. It's the Kirk Cousin Vikings thing. We cost too much for mediocre play. You're paying way too much for this wide receiver, and now because you're paying all that money, that's taking money away from the offensive line, the running back core, the other wide receivers that you may or may not get. I mean, who else do you have right there outside of him and Downs? And I guess Warren, but he's a tight end. If you have Warren, you're happy. If you have Warren, you're happy.
I mean, Warren through the roof for me at this point, because I mean him, and also I mean we can't forget about I'm drawing a blank because I'm so angry right now. Our slot receiver, just so mad.
I said Downs.
Oh, Dinky Downs. Yes, I wasn't.
Gosh, Downs.
I mean, I just honestly I have no idea what they're doing. What is happening? But Warren, you got to be excited. Downs, you got to be excited. And I think that Pierce is going to be exactly what he was. He's going to be around the 50 ball mark. Maybe he'll get a slight uptick because Pittman is gone now, and he'll get maybe closer to 60. But he's not an every down catch. He's not an alpha. They're paying him like he is. And that's what I just don't understand, especially with Daniel Jones, unknown on his return. Like, who do we have at quarterback? Are we starting Leonard? Like at the beginning of the season, he's not bombing the ball down to Pierce.
Another Kirk Cousins destination. Again, it's going to be a minimum league contract with Cousins.
Yeah. I mean, they just focused on the wrong things, and I am just so incredibly mad, especially about getting rid of Pittman, just because they're like, oh, well, let's just give Pierce more money because we're going to lose him if not. Who cares then? You can find another guy like that. I mean, There was also Rashid Shaheed was out there.
For a lot less contract also.
Exactly. Way less. What was his? Like
half.
4 years, 56 mil or something like that?
I'd say 50 something. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's just absolute insanity for someone I think is a very similar player. So that is, I digress. That is my rant. Daniel Jones, good for you. That's an okay contract for the Colts. It ties him in there. So he's definitely someone that could be a trade for candidate right now with his injury, and people could be disbelieving he's not coming back after an Achilles. So if there's any amount of little window there, I would be looking into that one.
With the departure of Michael Pittman, I mean, you have to imagine that the Colts are not only looking for the quarterback position here still during free agency, but I'd imagine in the first two rounds, at the farthest, the third round, they need to get another wide receiver as a rookie because, first off, they can't afford to get any more free agent wide receivers. So they need to go the cheap option, and that has to be a rookie, I would think.
It's going to have to be. They're going to have to reach into that bag and get a rookie. They don't have their first-round pick. So they gave that to the Jets. So no first round pick. So we're going to be looking at the second, but I think there's other places they need to go for too. I really think this is Chris Ballard just absolutely bombing the team before his departure next year, because this team is not going to perform well. And him and the coach are both on the hot seat right now. Him and Shane Steichen are absolutely on the hot seat, and this could be their very well goodbye tour. And he's just saying, Don't care. Maybe that's where he's going next year, is to the Steelers. He's like, I want Pittman there.
Well, there you go. He knows his guys.
He knows.
Yeah. And another team that may be looking for wide receiver is going to be the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers have moved, like Mike Evans has moved on from the Buccaneers. He has now signed with the 49ers. And a lot of that, I think, goes back to the offensive coordinator. They didn't seem like they got that right. And because they were maintaining their coaching staff, it sounded like Mike Evans really wasn't too happy with how things were being called. So he decided, hey, I don't think the Buccaneers have what it takes to make the jump in a really poor division. I'm going to go to the 49ers where I trust Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
And Shanahan.
That's a wild one to me, man.
I didn't see that coming.
I didn't. I thought he was going to be a Tampa Bay Buck for life. I thought he was going to finish there because I know him and Baker, too, are pretty close. He didn't get his 1,000-yard season last year, but that was primarily due to injury. It was not play by the quarterback nor him. It was just all injury, and it sucks that he loses that streak. But, he's going somewhere that a team that made the playoffs and a team that is also extremely injury prone. So they send an injury prone wide receiver to an extremely injury prone team. To good luck in that EF field or whatever it is, the power plant nearby.
Power plant.
It's
yeah. Everyone's there's memes already out there about Mike Evans and his hamstring and the soft tissue injuries and the power plant. That's not going to go well.
My goodness, man. It is exciting though. And if you're a contender, I think this is someone you can kind of go and get on the cheap end as he is aging. If you're in a win now mode, go and talk to the Evans manager and see what you can get for him. Because, I mean, who else is there in San Fran? They're going to move off of Ayuk,
Pearsall,
and he's been injury prone.
And Kittle, remember Kittle had the Achilles late year injury also, so he's not going to be 100%. I wouldn't imagine. And he's, tight end, they got to do so much blocking. They got to do all the route running. They got to be able to catch. Although if anyone can do it, it's Kittle because he's such a beast. But the Achilles is still a really tough one to recover from, especially year one Achilles repair.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be coming off of that injury repair, and he's just not going to be himself. And I mean, Juwan Jennings still has not been signed yet. He is a free agent, so there's possibility of him coming back to the 49ers. I mean, we're a little over a week into this.
I got some time.
And so, or about a weekend, not quite, but still plenty of time for him to be signed somewhere else. But he is an option to come back. But as of right now, it's pretty open. So Mike Evans, I think we could see him being close to the wide receiver 1, upper wide receiver 2 range, so long as he stays healthy.
The Buccaneers did add Kenny Gainwell to the backfield as Rachaad White ends up getting signed with Washington. And then they also re-signed Cade Otton at their tight end position.
Rachaad White signed with Washington?
Yeah.
When did that happen?
I don't know, a day or two ago, but I think it was a good fit because he got.
I didn't see that come through.
They got JCM as the 1-2 down, and then you've got the third down back as Rachaad White. I feel like it's a match made in heaven.
I did not actually see that come through yet. Man, that was a shock to me. I was still waiting to hear where Rachaad White was landing. I do have shares of him, and so that's actually pretty exciting for that group. I mean, that's not to say they don't go to the draft in with the mind of going to get somebody. They're higher up there, and Love could still be on the board for them. But
are you saying Love will find the way?
Love might find a way. There is a possibility, but we'll have to wait for the draft to see. I wouldn't be going out trying to get either one of these as of right now. I would be trying to maybe sell, depending on how hyped people are about the landing spot prior to the draft. But the draft will tell us kind of how they're feeling about this running back room here.
I was really fearful that Rachaad White was going to sign with the Seahawks after Kenneth Walker ends up getting signed with the Kansas City Chiefs. And we're going to definitely touch on that here. But the Seahawks right now, it's a wide open running back core. And Charbonnet, he got injured really late in the season. We talked about it multiple times, like, when's this guy going to be available? And we don't think he's going to be available for most of the year. All they have is George Halani in the backfield and not a whole lot else. But Kenny Gainwell, not Kenny Gainwell, Kenneth Walker ends up signing with the Kansas City Chiefs. And, he gets paid, and now he has another shot to potentially go to the Super Bowl again on a team that seems to be pretty ready. And they also need to lean more on the run, which they've been one of the worst teams in the NFL with like running after contact. And Kenneth Walker has been one of the top running backs in the league with like post-contact rushing. So I think it's a match made in heaven. And Mahomes, he still has to take some time to heal also.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about this one as I beat the drum for Kenneth Walker the last few years, and I have him in a lot of places, and he's let me down a lot. And he was always the guy that just got taken over by Zach Charbonnet, and the team just kind of let it happen, even though like his metrics were insane. I mean, he's got 971 yards after contact, which is just absolutely elite. 86 forced missed tackles, which is number 1 in the NFL. The dude was a monster, and they just wouldn't give him the ball. Now, he was injury prone, and this allowed him to stay healthy as having that too. So are the Chiefs done? Maybe they bring back Kareem Hunt to kind of take on some of the more brutal work and keep him healthy.
Afraid of him, though.
But you're not afraid. Exactly. But you're not afraid of him taking a whole bunch of touches. He's going to be the guy that comes in just to take a little bit of heat off, keep Walker healthy. I would actually prefer them to bring somebody in, kind of like a Kareem Hunt or something like that, just to take a little heat off.
Price.
That wouldn't be terrible. But someone just take a little heat, take a little bit of the bruising, keep Walker fresh, keep him explosive. So I wouldn't be mad if they do bring in someone a little bit like that. But man, am I excited for Kenneth Walker, and his value's got to be through the roof. I mean, you can't buy him right now. No, there's nothing I'm getting right, like offers that I'm getting right now that I'm going to be like, that's worth it. What is he? 25 years old too.
Yep.
And he's got a great contract. They want him there as that. And like you said, Patrick Mahomes coming off the injury, they're gonna need that run game. To talk about the Seahawks here real quick, since you touched on it, like you said, it's wide open here. I was actually kind of hoping Rachaad White was going there. That's the news I was waiting on.
That would be terrible.
Really?
Terrible. They would just plow him right through the middle of the linemen, and like just doing like dives and stuff, and you get like 1 yard, 2 yards. Like that's not the type of running backs that White is. He's more of like, hey, I just need to be on the perimeter and be on the outside, chuck on the ball, the catch and go. Like that's his game. And the Seahawks, they want to run, they want to pound the ball. That's not Rachaad White at all.
Well, I was just thinking for the fact that George Halani would take care of that in between the tackle stuff, and Rachaad White would get the more, let's get it to the outside, the pass catching role and stuff like that. So, because George Halani doesn't worry me with Rachaad White there, as we're waiting Charbonnet's return. So I wasn't going to dislike it.
Still got Kenny McIntosh, blank check himself.
Oh, okay. That's exciting. Fire up the old Macintosh. He'll probably boot up just as quick as that old thing.
Mr. McIntosh.
But yeah, so we'll see what the Seahawks are going to do to kind of help bridge this Charbonnet gap.
I'm not sure who's left in the free agency period. Oh, I know a guy. Najee Harris.
Oh.
The old Pirate.
I'm going to look up what free agents backs there are still.
I'm pretty sure Harris is still available.
Najee Harris is definitely still available, but
he's definitely still available.
Joe Mixon is still available.
That wouldn't be bad. That wouldn't be bad.
Joe Mixon, yeah, I wouldn't hate that one. And Antonio Gibson.
I like it. I just don't think he's going to be healthy enough yet.
Yeah. Nick Chubb.
The corpse of Nick Chubb.
Okay. All right. Never mind.
It's a type of back that they would need. It's just unfortunate. Like they need to go back about 3 years, and I don't know. Stem
Kareem
cells.
Hunt?
they can rejuvenate either one of these guys to be fantasy or NFL ready running backs again. But they may just do better off just paying it forward, paying for one of these running backs that's still available in the free and in the draft.
Jerome Ford.
That's actually a perfect fit.
That's not bad.
I like that. That's your best one, Colten.
Thank you.
That is definitely your best one. Wrong button.
Thank you. I'm glad we're doing it live. Hopefully everybody saw me bow to them laughing at me.
The Cardinals are running it back with Jacoby Brissett, and then they'll have Minshew Magic also to back them up. They signed Kendrick Bourne on a 2-year, $12 million contract to be the wide receiver 3 that nobody plays. What do you think about these Arizona Cardinals with running it back? Oh, and their best signing yet in free agency.
Stop.
Tyler Algier.
Yeah.
Tyler Algier, that was a good one. And then they ran it back with Connor.
No.
Not John Connor.
No. I was like,
you're a Trey Benson guy, aren't you? You got a bunch of Trey Benson sitting around. I got rid of him 2 years ago because he was a nothing.
I have 2 shares of Trey Benson. I drafted him late in the startup last year, and then the year like super late, and then like the year prior, it was like I was just trying to stock up on some running backs, and I was like, oh, Trey Benson, all right, cool. I got him like in the early second, just tossing darts, trying to pick someone up. But honestly, I foresaw them starting Jacoby Brissett this year anyways. If they weren't going after Malik Willis, then, which there was rumors that they were potentially going after Willis, but I was assuming they were going to set up Jacoby Brissett. Next year, they're going for a quarterback. They're just honestly starting to tank now, which is what surprised me is why they went out and got Algier.
It wasn't that expensive.
It wasn't too badly priced. They did restructure Connor's contract in order for him to stay. So they got a pretty hefty running back room there. They've got Trey McBride. They've got, Marvin Harrison and Michael Wilson. So they don't really need wide receivers, but it's going to be interesting. I don't hate the I don't hate the Gardner Minshew signing. I mean, they got him very cheap. I don't hate Gardner Minshew, man. People do. People just are disgusted by him. But
more of a backup now. He's more of a backup now. He's proven that he's not a starter in the league. But let me come back to this Tyler Algier contract. 2 years, $12.5 million. Are you kidding me? I thought Algier's signing was going to be with the Detroit Lions. I thought, hey, they're moving on from Monty. Let's switch him out for a younger version of Monty and Tyler Algier. I thought that would have been just so sweet. And as a Gibbs owner, I would have been just fine with. They still need a running back to, I think, fill in the need there. But how did they get him so cheap, Colten?
I'm wondering if, around the league, they all talk. They all know these players. And I'm wondering if around the league it just wasn't one of those things that he was just highly touted. I mean, maybe it was more of us fantasy people that really liked him, and he got goal
1,000-yard rookie season.
Yeah, but that was 3 years ago.
Then they got Bijan.
And he did take work away from Bijan. So I don't know how it wasn't, but maybe there's something out there that, maybe the league's just not believing. This is a little bit heavier of a free agency. I mean, it's not that great. So, I mean, I just don't know. I don't know.
In a poor draft class, though.
Poor.
Do you think you could have held out a little longer and got paid more?
I mean, there's a lot of guys in this draft class that are running backs that are just kind of, and maybe that's how that's how they see Algier. Maybe they just are like, I can get a guy in the third or fourth round that can bury the ball in if I need to. So I don't know how they did.
What their kids say, they're mid.
Mid, yeah.
Yeah, they're mid.
Yeah. Not horrible, but not exciting.
Speaking of not exciting, here's a few not exciting quarterbacks that signed, but probably aren't fantasy relevant. Brandon Allen is now the backup quarterback to Josh Allen with Buffalo. Trubisky ended up moving on, not to the Minnesota Vikings, but he did go to the Tennessee Titans. So he'll be right there behind Ward and hopefully bringing Ward up to being even that much better of a quarterback prospect. And if Ward was to be injured at all, hopefully that doesn't happen. But Trubisky is still somebody that can hold down the fort. Mariota signs back with Washington. I think that makes a lot of sense. He played a lot of good football there with Washington, some of the best football probably in his entire NFL career. Case Keenum signs back with the Bears to continue to mentor Caleb Williams. Sam Howell signs with the Cowboys on a really cheap one-year deal. Geno Smith signs with the Jets. He could potentially be the starter and might beat out Justin Fields in his second opportunity with the Jets, mind you. And then finally we've got the Minnesota Vikings we can talk about. But before we talk about the signing there, anything about those guys?
I did have one question for you about Algier real quick. What would you pay to have him on your team? What's your belief in him?
I bought him for a second
Okay.
a year or two ago, and I think I bought him last year, and I bought him the year before. I'm a huge Algier fan, and I just could not believe that he went as cheap as he did with the contracts, especially when they were trying to make room and have Connor, take up some of his contract. Like whatever he got rid of in his contract, that's pretty much what they paid Algier. And I think that Tyler Algier is a better running back than Connor. I just don't know how many touchdown opportunities that the Cardinals are going to have. They're going to be playing from behind a lot. And I don't know, is Algier better at catching the ball than Connor? That I'd have to look into, but Connors is getting older. Algier will have some opportunities. I would still say, like, if you're hurting at the running back position, like, you can probably pay a mid-second to get Tyler Algier, and I'd be fine with it in this draft class. Is that safe to say?
Yeah. I mean, that's right around what I was thinking. I think, some people with the recent news of going to the Cardinals, maybe second and a third or 2 seconds might have to be what gets it done.
Are people excited about the Cardinals?
I mean, what's in front of them is besides James Conner and like 30-some-year-old off of an injury. James Conner, is he 30 years old
the lead
now?
Back there for the last couple of years.
No, so.
Oh, and Trey Benson's there. Trey Benson.
Don't forget Trey Benson.
Trey Benson is there.
His value is 0 now. It's so sad.
But DeMarcado's not. DeMarcado's gone. He's now with Kansas City also.
Oh, very excited. I did not know that.
You heard it here first on the Fantasy Healers.
The only news that you brought up previously, though, is, Geno Smith to the Jets. He's making his return to the Jets to finish out his career with where he started. I think it's just an interesting landing spot. It's definitely somewhere he's just like, nobody else is going to take me. So
the Colts would have.
That would have just, you would have seen my phone go flying across your house. Like, what was that? It was Colten just chucking his phone 100 miles.
The Colts could have used him. Oh, I guess they always have Phillip Rivers in their back pocket.
Just in case. He's our emergency. He's our third emergency back, or quarterback, I think it's just an interesting landing spot. They're looking for something a little bit different from Justin Fields. We watched him badmouth Justin Fields last year. The owner's like, "Oh yeah, your team would be bad with a quarterback like that too." So it'll be interesting to see if Fields stays on this team and if they just don't ride it out with Geno and just go for a 2027 quarterback.
Do you think that Justin Fields actually is the starting quarterback for your Indianapolis Colts this year?
Can you
stop that can happen?
It could. It very well could. And you're just trying to make me mad. And they're no longer my Colts. They are my former.
Always going to be your Colts.
They are my former. Just because their name's attached to mine doesn't mean that they're mine.
Colts. Colton's Colts.
No. Done. I'm washing my hands.
Never. Well, we've just been kind of dragging the line over and over again about the signing for the Minnesota Vikings, and I still don't know what to think of it, and maybe that's why I keep dragging it out here. But Kyler Murray does sign a one-year deal with the Minnesota Vikings. although he can't see over the line, he is going to be our starting quarterback to potentially throw the ball into Justin Jefferson's hands. There was a meme of him of 9 throwing the ball and getting picked off, and then there was a meme of Kyler Murray trying to throw the ball, and the defensive lineman ended up catching it because he couldn't get it over him.
This is something that I knew was just going to burn in you and fester and just come out. So just go ahead and get it out. Just let it out right now, Dustin.
I'm not a believer in Kyler Murray. I'm not a believer in 9. And we all saw what Max Brosmer did last year. When you see 9, your 10th overall pick, get benched for an undrafted quarterback out of Minnesota and Max Brosmer. And one of his plays was he literally fell onto he tripped over himself and basically just tossed the ball to a defender to run it all the way down the field, 60 yards for a touchdown. And yet we still couldn't find another quarterback to fill his shoes. So we're like, oh, let's put 9 back in. And then they're like, you know what? I liked what I saw in Max Brosmer. Let's have him start a couple more games. And then we come into the offseason and they're like, Kyler Murray, he seems like a good idea. He was 1-10 in his last 11 starts, and he couldn't get the ball to his number 1 wide receiver. How much more can I say? I don't think he's a good quarterback. He spends more time playing video games than looking at the playbook. And I guess if there's going to be a coach that's going to fix Kyler Murray, it's going to be Kevin O'Connell. But he's done a pretty good job with all these other quarterbacks, but he didn't do anything with 9. He didn't do anything with Max Brosmer. Carson Wentz was Carson Wentz. And we're still a quarterback away. And how many years is it since 2017? We're 9 years post the Minnesota Miracle. And we're still a quarterback away, Colten. And now he's going to win just enough games to not allow us to draft a good quarterback in next year's class. So then we can continue the 9 experiment because it'll be his fourth year. I'm not happy about it.
You feel better?
A little bit.
Let's go, baby.
I don't know. Oh, lastly, they had the power rankings that came out for the NFC, and guess where the Minnesota Vikings are now rated, because now we're contenders. We're ranked 3rd in the NFC. Now that sounds great, but we had a 9-8 season with 9 as our quarterback and Max Brosmer and Carson Wentz. So I guess if they're trying to give us some stability with Kyler Murray, then we'll see. I say worst case scenario, you can chuck Kyler Murray over the line to get the first down, or maybe you can kind of go through the offensive line's legs to run forward. But I don't know what to expect here, Colten. I'm really lift me up, please, you would Kyler Murray.
Here's my argument. I think he's bigger than what you expect. He's 5'10", but he's pretty got some heft. He's 200 some pounds. Yeah. Yes. Here's my argument. And this is the argument I gave to my dad because he had lots of questions about Kyler Murray. He's kind of like a Minnesota Vikings and some bigger other names and doesn't really know a whole lot. So he gets a lot of information from me. And we had this conversation yesterday because I sent him the screenshot as soon as it happened. I said, look at Sam Darnold, right? Sam Darnold, okay quarterback, right? He didn't go out and win the Seattle Seahawks a Super Bowl, correct? He went out and he didn't ruin their chances of winning the Super Bowl by being a terrible quarterback and turning the ball up. He got the job done and just kind of did things. He didn't go out and win them the game, though. I mean, a quarterback that's not the Super Bowl MVP.
He won a few. He won a few this year.
He did, but I'm just saying he did what he needed to and didn't turn the ball over. I think the Vikings said, hey, we have a very good defense. We have plenty of offensive weapons. We need a quarterback that isn't going to lose us games. And they looked at the free agency class and they're like, what are we going to do? I mean, Kyler Murray is honestly one of the better options. He can at least get the ball, he can run with the ball. he has had a pretty good completion percentage through his career. He's 67.1% completion percentage, which is not bad for a quarterback, especially a rushing mobile quarterback. I think they're just looking for someone that says, hey, if we can go and we can just not lose games with our quarterback like Nine was doing to him and like Max Brosner was doing to him, maybe we've got a shot here. I mean, they have an elite defense. Brian Flores has been building this defense up to being what it is. And in my opinion, do I think Kyler Murray is going to come out and he's going to be absolutely incredible? No, but I don't think he's going to lose games for the Vikings, and I think it's going to be a more exciting season for that. I think we're going to see a jump in Justin Jefferson getting catchable balls. We're going to see them actually just be able to win games just by getting getting there rather than their quarterback ruining them for him and making their defense work even harder.
Okay, you lifted me up a little bit. I'm feeling a little bit better here.
I'm not saying Kyler Murray is going to be incredible. And the Kyler Murray of old, I mean, 2020 Kyler Murray was insane. I mean, he had 3,900 passing yards. He had, how many rushing touchdowns was it? It was,
Here's this.
Can't find 2020. It was a long time ago.
That's 6 years ago, Colten.
It was his sophomore season. And
6 years ago, I was a lot healthier and faster, and I could run a little bit too. I can't do that now.
That is correct. You're not wrong. You can't. But what I'm saying is I don't think he's going to be that. I don't think he's going to be the superhero. I think he's going to do what's asked of him and just get the job done and don't turn the dang ball over, which is what J.J. McCarthy couldn't stop doing. So if you give your defense a chance to recover and play what they need to, you can see them play into the playoffs and get wins just because their quarterback's not trying to actively hurt their defense.
Well, may I add this also? Like, the Minnesota Vikings need another running back also. Like, here we are. We're like, oh, I guess we're going to turn back time again and re-sign Aaron Jones, who didn't play very well for us last year. We still got Jordan Mason, who, again, didn't play very good. He's very, like, one-dimensional. Like, you're either running it up the gut or, like, that's it. And this has been our problem for the last number of years. Like, a team that needs a running back is the Minnesota Vikings. A team that could benefit from a running back is the Minnesota Vikings with Kyler Murray behind center. And I don't know what they're going to do, but they definitely need to do something there, Colten. And I don't think Mixon is the answer. I don't know how much he's got left in the tank. I don't think Najee Harris is the answer. Maybe Bam Knight's still available. I mean, Kyler knows Bam.
Trey Benson.
No, don't do that. You know what? What if we got Washington? What if we got Washington in like the second round?
Oh, okay.
You get Washington. Remember how I was comparing him to Adrian Peterson? 6'1", 220 pounds, same speed score, like can catch the ball. Now we're talking.
I wouldn't hate that, honestly. That would be perfect. And that's kind of where the rumors of where Washington be going is, anywhere from late first to mid second is kind of what he's potentially being projected with all of his hype now.
I don't want the Vikings to get him in the first round.
Let
me be clear. But I think maybe second round, depending on where we're at. I don't know. I think we got a couple third round picks available. I just don't think he's going to be there.
No, I don't think he'll fall to the third, but that's definitely an option. Or maybe they can trade for somebody, but definitely gonna need some running back help to take some heat off of the quarterback. And we're talking here that Kyler Murray's a starter, but I've heard there's going to be a competition.
My mistake. We got a couple other big signings that we probably need to talk about before the show ends, and that's Wan'Dale Robinson. He signs a 4-year, $70 million contract with the Titans. I think that's actually a pretty good contract for him, and he follows Dayball down to Tennessee.
Yeah, good for him. And he definitely got the loser tax. The Titans being the losers, and they paid up to get Wan'Dale Robinson. I like Wan'Dale, but they're paying him quite a bit of money. Not as much as Alec Pierce. Wan'Dale's definitely caught way more passes than Alec Pierce, too.
Absolutely.
So
this season alone, he probably has about his career in the NFL.
Oh my gosh. Just stop it.
Darn close.
Yeah, probably. You're not wrong. And it's just stupid. Anyways, I digress again.
Good.
There's not a lot of receivers there in Tennessee. I have a feeling they're going to go to the draft board to try to pick up another one. Wandale cannot be your stud. But definitely going to be a fantasy relevant option. Someone that you can still go and get cheap. I don't know that many Wandale like lovers that are like, I got to have this guy. Someone you could get cheap that I think is going to get peppered with targets. And, with the new regime in there, I could see a better offense. I like Dable as the offensive coordinator there, and I could see it being a lot more efficient this year. I mean, the Titans are still going to tighten, but it could be more efficient.
If I could get Wandale Robinson and get him fairly inexpensive and have him be my wide receiver 3 on a team, like I'd be sitting pretty there, I think, for fantasy. Or if you've got multiple flex spots or something, like you're like, hey, you're going to start him at some point. There could be people that are like, ooh, the Titans. And like you could get him, I don't know. Do you think someone would sell him for a couple thirds? Or do you think you have to still give a late second?
I think you at least got to go the late second with what he did last year.
Maybe mid-second, kind of that Algier price.
Yeah, I think around there with what he did last year. He was a PPR monster. And I think people are still going to remember that. And I mean, I think he becomes a movable asset just because he went to the Titans. And I think that's why you can get the deal done. Is some people have some bad taste in their mouth of like, ooh, the Titans.
Maybe you do like a package of some kind instead of just paying a pick. I think that might be a better option yet.
Right. I think he could absolutely be like a toss-in player too, to like sweeten up a deal rather than like if someone's keen to keep in their next year's picks, be like, give me Wandale instead of, next year's second or something. Like, sure.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Drop around there. So
now you're winning dynasty.
Right.
Tyler Lindenbaum, the center, he ends up getting signed with the Raiders. So the Raiders are starting to figure out, hey, maybe we need an offensive line to protect our young quarterback. That's going to be there. So that's a good thing. I got a number of tight ends that I'm going to talk about. Austin Hooper, he's back. He's back with Atlanta. Kate Otten, like we said, he's re-signed with the Bucks. Charlie Kohler, former Ravens tight end, he signed with the Chargers. Noah Fant has signed with the Saints. And Isaiah Likely to the Giants, 3 years, $40 million. And then lastly, Kelsey, he has decided to come back for one more shot. Like we didn't see that coming. But I think out of all these names, I think Isaiah Likely is the name to talk about. Theo Johnson, the athletic Theo Johnson, is now looking like he could be taking a back seat to Isaiah Likely for the Jackson Dart offense.
I was honestly confused about this move. In terms of, Isaiah Likely followed his old head coach. He followed John Harbaugh from the Ravens to the Giants.
I think it was a great signing by the Giants, but I want to hear what your take is.
Well, I do too, but my whole thing is I thought it was weird because, John Harbaugh was part of the Baltimore Ravens when they decided to extend Mark Andrews and not Isaiah Likely.
So you don't think he already knew he was on his way out?
Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't know. Maybe they didn't have those conversations. I can't say for certain that's a possibility, but even when they were both there, Isaiah Likely wasn't used as much with John Harbaugh's offense, and he wasn't utilized in the athletic role and pass catching role that he has. It never came to be like
saving him.
Which is that's what's confusing me, man. I don't know kind of what's going on. Maybe now that Mark Andrews isn't there, Isaiah Likely will have a bigger presence, but I can't 100% say for certain because there's that pass that he has with Harbaugh where he wasn't utilized in that way and he wasn't utilized as much. And they decided to sign Mark Andrews when Likely and Harbaugh was still there together. So it's just a confusing situation to me. I like Likely and I have I have one share of him and he's one of those guys I'm hanging on to in terms of like, I don't know if people are excited. I don't know if they're down. Maybe I'm sitting alone on this thought because I'm thinking too much into it, but it's just my own thought process in the terms of, why weren't we using them there if you brought them here to just have the same role, or is he going to have a bigger role now because he knows you? So just one of those things to think about.
Yeah, I think especially a team in the Giants where you've got Neighbors still recovering from injury. I can't think who their wide receiver 2 is on top of my head.
Slayton.
Slayton's still there. But they've been talking about getting rid of Slayton for like 5 years, and that man is still a giant. And then they got rid of Wan'Dale Robinson, and so you can only imagine them in the early part of the NFL draft going for one of these top 3 wide receivers to kind of fill that role. But I mean, they might be doing more 2 tight end sets, and that's where Likely fits in.
Yeah, and there's a possibility because I still do really like Theo Johnson too. I mean, an athletic freak, but he also hasn't been really utilized. But we're talking about a new regime here, so can look very different. But their wide receivers are Malik Neighbors, Darius Slayton, and their wide receiver 3, Isaiah Hodgins.
Oh, I forgot he resigned.
Jalen Hyatt.
I can't believe he's still even on the team.
Xavier Gipson is there.
You think Hyatt's only on the team because of him smoking a stogie with Peyton Manning? That's probably it, right?
Maybe, man. I don't know. He hasn't done anything. Was he like a fourth round pick? Third round?
I don't remember when he was drafted, but the hype was so high with him, and
yeah, it was.
He just plummeted.
Yes, but still not a lot of pass catching options there. So you're right. We could see some 2 tight end sets with 2 athletic tight ends. So both can be used.
I know it's taken us a little while to get here, but Travis Etienne did sign with the Saints, and like, what does that do to Kamara? I know that like there's I've heard some talks that Kamara got his contract changed, so he got a lot more of the guaranteed money, so he gets that right away. And I heard rumor that Kamara could retire.
Yeah, that's actually the big rumor that I think could potentially be the most true. That last year there was talks about Kamara getting traded, and Kamara came out and he was like, "Don't trade me, guys." He's like, "I just kind of want to finish here as a Saint and put a bow on this and call it a career." And so I think we're going to be seeing the end of Kamara's career here, especially with that move there. They're not going to move on for him. Maybe he takes like a RB2 role for them, takes the backup, but I don't see him finishing his career that way, man. He's had such a legendary career. That's not how you want to tie it up. That's not the bow you want on. I know he's had an injury-ridden season last year, and that's not how you want to end it either, but I'd rather go out on my injured horse than as the backup horse. So that's just me personally, but I think we could be seeing Kamara kind of say, "Hey, this is it."
To the Vikings. Come to the Vikings.
Nah, he's not leaving, man. If he was going to, he would have done it last year, and he would have said, "Go ahead and trade me. That's fine." But it's just, I think this is it. It was an interesting signing to me, just because the fact that they still had Kamara. I mean, maybe he came out and told them and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about retiring," so they made the move anyways. But
good move by the Saints, I think, to get Etienne.
I just don't see this team as like a running back away, and so they went and paid big money.
He got paid. Crappy team. He got paid.
Yeah, I mean, they're just paying big money for a running back for a team that I don't think's just a running back away. But I guess it takes some heat off of Shuck, help him develop further, or whatever quarterback if they decide to bring someone else in. So I like it. I was just confused by it. I just was not expecting it.
The Saints are a running back away in regards to finally getting out of this cap hell that they've been in since the Drew Brees era. And that's once Kamara's gone, that running back away, that opens the door for a lot more flexibility with their contracts. So that way they can finally start to compete. And that's been that's been a decade now.
Crazy, man, how they've just kicked the can down the road so much. It's
insane. They kicked it far. And they had some amazing people to fill out those contracts because they were holding on for a long time. And still technically they were competing for their division, which is just mind-blowing how they've just been kind of just like, well, we're not really rebuilding on the fly, but we are kind of rebuilding on the fly for like the last decade.
Just punted it down the field.
Another team that's holding strong to the running backs is J.K. Dobbins returns to the Broncos.
Best scenario. I loved that signing. I think he fits well there. He played very well. I think that was the best case scenario for him and RJ Harvey to hang on to some value. There was talks that they could go to this draft and try to pick somebody or try to get some of the bigger names in free agency. I did hear, I'm trying to remember, I thought there was one guy, I think it was ETN, that when they didn't sign ETN, they decided, hey, we'll go back to Dobbins. I think they were trying to get a little bit bigger of a name, which I think would have really hurt Harvey. But I think both guys get to retain onto some value here, and I think it's the best signing for Dobbins.
I agree. And we did talk about the Lions with how Monty's no longer there, and they need another running back. Well, they did sign a running back, Isaiah Pacheco, and unfortunately for Pacheco, though, he just hasn't been the same since his leg injury where he broke his ankle, and he just doesn't have the explosiveness. And I don't know. I'm definitely not. It's not scaring me off of Gibbs. Let's just say that.
It's not scaring me off of Gibbs. It's not talking me into Pacheco. I could see him. I mean, he was a hard runner, so he can absolutely take the goal line work, but I'm still not super afraid of Gibbs, but I'm not also going out and buying Pacheco for that role.
The Buffalo Bills re-signed their number one tight end, Dawson Knox, for a 3-year deal.
Yeah, 3-year deal. He's going to be on the field. He does the dirty work for him, and he gets
going to be on the field.
He gets
going to be on the field more.
Yeah. Shut up.
I'll move on. You've had a lot of pain.
Just keep putting the salt in my wound, Dustin.
Hey, that's what this podcast is all about, Colten. Welcome to the show. Romeo Doubs gets signed with the Patriots. And they did let go of Diggs, and he hasn't signed anywhere yet. But now Romeo Doubs is looking at potentially the number one wide receiver chair for the Patriots.
Yeah, man. What are the Patriots are just like, it's like that meme of the guy poking it with a stick, and it's like, do something. Come on. Another year of we're not going to sign a wide receiver of consequence. I mean, Diggs was fine, but it wasn't like a receiver of nobody was like walking in going, Stephon Diggs is across from me. I'm like, you're just gonna waste Drake May's like rookie contract on nothing, on no wide receivers of consequence. I mean, I know you made it.
To be honest, he'll have the biggest helmet on the team.
You'll be able to easily find that man.
We'll be able to find him. He'll have big head mode on, just like in the old 007 games.
Yes, big head mode. It's like I wonder if that's a cheat code in Blitz. You know, like the NFL Blitz games.
I don't remember seeing that in Blitz, but the main thing I remember it was on N64, 007, GoldenEye, the big head mode.
Yeah.
And I mean, you could just it was so much fun back in the day.
It was great. 2 pixels.
Hey, the kids are back playing 6-bit or 9-bit games in Minecraft, so
not wrong.
We had better graphics with 007 than that. And my kids were playing Roadblocks. And I'm watching this and I'm like, okay, they're kind of shooting characters and they're kind of falling apart and stuff. I'm like, 007 was so much better.
Oh yeah. 007 is great. I have a handheld device that I can actually play 007 GoldenEye on. It really brought back the nostalgia.
Absolutely. Speaking of nostalgia, all we got left here is just a last few signings. I'll say the names, and then you can let me know if there's anybody you want to talk about here. Chris Rodriguez, he signs with the Jaguars, 2 years, $12 million contract. Keaton Mitchell signs with the Chargers. I think that's a slightly interesting one. And Emmanuel Wilson does sign with the Seahawks. He showed that he could hold the load a little bit there with the Packers when Jacobs was injured. At this time, he's probably the best running back on the team. And then Jalen Tolbert signs with the Dolphins.
Emmanuel Wilson's not the best running back on the team, best healthy running back on the team.
Kalani's healthy. I like Kalani.
I mean, Charbonnet's still a decent running back. He's not great, but I think he's better than Emmanuel Wilson.
Well, sure, yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't think he's playing this year.
Well, no, you're right. That's what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, you said on the team. I'm like, we gotta give Sharps his credit.
On the 2026 team season.
Okay, that's all right.
Thank you for correcting me. Yeah, Charbonnet is technically still on the team, but he's not on the team this year.
None of those that I really care super a whole lot about. There's one thing that I do think we need to talk about that we have not yet, and that's DJ Moore to the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, yeah.
The Buffalo Bills traded for, which I think, man, can the Vikings go and get the Bears GM, because that man is savvy. He got. We
opened the door for him. We got rid of ours.
Got back a second.
We got rid of our GM this year.
Got a second back for DJ Moore, a man that they traded for 3 years ago now.
Yeah, and he was drafted in the second round, mind you.
Yeah, and he was drafted. I'm like, this man is just making money moves. They didn't really need him. They get a second back for him. I mean, I just crazy. He is a very good GM, right? Ryan Poles or something like that.
Poles, I think, yeah. I think that actually trade helps both teams.
It does. I just think the Bills overpaid a little bit. I'm like, a second for DJ Moore, or someone that's kind of fading away.
They didn't pay $116 million for Alec Pierce, I'll tell you that.
End the pod. End it now.